I was a bit worried when I started reading about this Volvo S60 prior to getting in it and driving it for this video, because Volvo were absolutely obsessed at the time when they designed this car with making it sportier to drive, and I thought, that's not really what you want from a Volvo as the number one feature, is it? You know, if you want a sporty to drive executive car, then BMW's there for you. You've got Audi and Mercedes as well there. Mercedes with the rear wheel drive and Audi with the lightweight aluminium construction. And I thought, don't do it, Volvo. Don't go to the dark side. You know, stick to your traditions of comfort and luxury and practicality and style and alternative Swedish quirkiness. I'm going to say right from the off, no, it's fine. This still feels like a Volvo. It still feels comfortable. It still feels very solid and robust. You know, when I first got in this car, I could immediately see from just how thick that door is, how heavy it felt, and how tank-like this whole car sort of felt to me when I got in it. I thought, okay, we're safe. But yes, that's some good news to start the video on, and please stick around for a full review of this Volvo S60. The interior of this car is lovely. It really is a very well put together and robust interior, but it's also very stylish in that sort of like Swedish minimalist way. They've got the floating center console, the thing that Volvo designed first in the S40, I think it was, and it's present and correct here, where you can put your arm behind the back of it to store things there. You've got this one massive air vent in the middle here, whereas normally in most cars you'd have two, but then there's two there for the passenger as well. I've got a digital dashboard in front of me now. I'm not always a big fan of digital dashboards, but as far as it goes, this one is nicely done. It's made up of like 3 different little screens, so you've got this central circle which can be adjusted, you know, to show you various different things, but then you've got the temperature on the left and the rev counter on the right, and depending on what information you display by changing it here on this little stalk, it changes size. So, you know, if you don't want to show your current MPG, then you can just replace that space with a bigger fuel gauge. Infotainment screen in the center in this car has been replaced with a Android-based system, so it is slightly different to what you would have got from as standard with this car, but it does still have all of the features that original system had, but it's just been enhanced. So you can change all of the settings for the car, and there are of course a million different things you can change, all of the safety systems, all of the different features of the car. It's easy to get into a good driving position in this car because you've got the adjustability of the steering wheel in and out, up and down. You've got, in this car, electronically adjustable seats which will move in every which way you want. It does feel like a nice driving position, and of course it's also a very comfortable car. The seats are very supportive, but at the same time comfortable. Now these are the R-design seats with the big bolsters. They help you hold you in the corners as well. And with this being the R-design version, obviously it's got all these little sort of flourishes like silver door trimmed R-design badges everywhere, like on the steering wheel and the kick plates. And also you've got like spoilers and splitters and various things to make the car look a little bit meaner, a little bit sportier. The visibility could be better, but I guess all these big solid pillars, A, B and C, are all you know, adding to the safety of this car, but at the same time they take away from that all-round visibility. But you know, the parking sensors on this car are good, and it's pretty easy to drive around town. The steering is not horribly light like some modern cars. It's actually quite nicely judged. It's comfortable to use, but it's also not completely devoid of any weight whatsoever, which is you know, common even in cars like BMW. You know, the weight of this steering, it adds to the feel that this car is a solid tank of a car. The boot isn't the very biggest in its class, but it is quite still a sizable thing, and you can fold the seats down obviously to get longer items through the middle. Now at the end of the day it is a saloon car, so you've not got that practical hatchback. You do have a sort of smaller entryway for items to go into the boot, but the seats are very easy to fold down because the handles are right there at the back of the boot, and there's this divider in the boot which allows you to separate things and stop them rolling around in the boot when you're testing out the performance ability of this car. You've got sort of like an average sized glove box, but you've also got a thing under the center console. You've got 2 massive cup holders which easily fit the fat bottom bottle, absolutely absorb it into there. There was of course also an estate version of this car which was known as the V60. Now that was a significantly different enough looking car that I think I'll save a full review of that for another time. Now as I just park this car up in this parking bay here, I'm reminded of the handbrake, which is electronic as standard on this car, and it's down here on the right. You put it on by pushing it, which is kind of the opposite of what I feel like it should be, but once you get used to it, it's all right. And of course, you only need to put it on, it will go off if you drive away. Now I just so happen to be filming this video in the small town of Glossop, which is just east of Manchester. And of course, coming out of Glossop is the very famous Snake Pass, which is a really fantastic road to drive, a real good one to test the handling of a car. Volvo, as I said in the intro of this video, had a big thing at the time about making this car good to drive, because the previous S60 was much more of a comfortable bruiser of a cruiser. So anyway, what they did with this car was they made it 100% more torsionally rigid than the previous car, and they quickened up the steering rack as well, and the whole car just obviously hunkers down better and feels better attached to the road. You've got lots of grip. Genuinely does feel quite a nice car to drive. Now, of course, they were all front-wheel drive, apart from the very rare T6 model, which had all-wheel drive. So it's not got that rear-wheel drive balance, but coupled with this manual gearbox, which was in about 50% of these cars, you could get a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed auto. It's really not that bad to drive. It's not quite as heavy as you would expect. It's over 1,500 kilos, but it feels like a really big, heavy car, so 1,500 kilos is okay. Obviously, it shows its weight when you really hurl it into corners, but the steering feels nice. It feels direct and quick. So inevitably, even though you're on the Snake Pass and it's the best driving road in the country or whatever, you're going to get stuck behind cars in front, aren't you? And you're going to be cruising along for a lot of it. This car, it's a very nice, comfortable cruiser. It's what you expect from a Volvo, isn't it? It's a very quiet and refined car. It's very relaxing to drive. It's not twitchy. You know, the steering is very, very solid and steady, and every input is smooth. You know, the brakes, they're not over servoed. When you put your foot down on the accelerator, it just kind of surges forward in a very smooth way. The ride comfort is pretty good, even though this car is an R design, so it's the firmest level of suspension in this car. It still has quite a supple and smooth ride. Now, I suspect that it would be even better with the standard versions of this car, because this car's got big alloy wheels on it with the low profile tyres. With this being the diesel car, in theory this car will do 900 miles between fill-ups of diesel, which is just, well, it's too much really. I mean, I can't do 900 miles without getting out and stretching my legs, but you know, it's nice to know that this car can do it if you want to. What does backseat JJ think of the back of this car? Are you thinking of getting elbow patches and starting to teach some geography lessons? No, but this is the sporty version. This is the sportiest Volvo ever made. Oh, well, yeah, it's just geography teacher's car, isn't it, this? It's just the old elbow patches and tweed kind of car, I would have thought. With the R design suspension. Yeah, I suppose it is. It's sportier, isn't it? But, yeah, anyway, the back of this car, actually, legroom's good. It's set for JJ in front, and I've got space. And headroom's good as well. It's obviously just about, because this is like a swooping, slopey roof with the special, nice, sporty design, but it's surprisingly good for space. And then I've got a nice armrest here with 2 cup holders in it and a little cubby hole inside the armrest. That's always good. I've got 12-volt socket back here. I've got lights up at the top. I've got Jesus handles for all the sporty driving, and then I've got little cubby holes for like very tiny bottles or something in the doors. The seats are quite comfortable. I could see you driving this. It's not for me. Anyway, back to you, mate. Right, cheers for that, mate. So this car is the D5, which is the 5-cylinder twin-turbo diesel, 2.4 litre with 215 horsepower. And for a diesel, it's really quite a lovely thing. It's got loads and loads of torque. Oh, it's got more than enough power to do basically anything that you'll need. So be it merge onto a motorway safely, to get yourself out of danger, or to overtake, it's just got plenty of performance. Now, of course, there were loads of other options available. The smaller diesel engines, lots of petrol engines, although most of these cars will, of course, be diesel if you're looking on Auto Trader. The absolute best top spec engine you could get was the T6, which was a 6-cylinder turbo petrol engine with all-wheel drive, and a rare car, but if you really want the performance version of this car, that's the one to look for, because they didn't sell the Polestar here, sadly. A very cool car, and I wish they'd sold it here. Now, officially, this car will get, despite all that power, it will get 60 mpg, but I'm not sure that it actually will do that. I think you're more likely to be able to get 50 or so. Now, the owner of this car only does short journeys. Thank you, Damien, by the way, for lending me this car. You know, if you're on a run in this car, I imagine 50 is quite doable. Comment below if you've got one of these cars and what mpg you get out of it. But what's cool is, because the CO2 emissions are very low, it's only £35 a year to tax in the UK, which is ridiculous really for a big powerful car like this. When this car came out in 2010, it was pretty much the most advanced car in terms of safety that you could buy in the world, certainly for any sort of normal car. Volvo were right up there with the technology. It had the blind spot information system, you had pedestrian detection that would literally stop the car if it thought it was going to hit a pedestrian in front, radar guided cruise control, which would also automatically brake for you if you were about to hit someone in front, and of course you had all of the actual passive safety systems like the side impact protection in the doors. You've got multiple airbags. Unfortunately, even with Volvo, I've had to turn off the collision warning and lane keep assist because it just goes off all the time. Like if you're going round a twisty road, it thinks that you're going to cross the white line when you're nowhere near it, and also you'll randomly just get the red light flashing up to tell you that you're about to hit something when there's nothing there. Even Volvo, the experts in these safety systems still don't get it right, and in the end it just means that you want to turn them off with the buttons down at the bottom, and it's a shame because there clearly could be quite useful features. So should you buy this car? Well, depends what you want really. I would say yes. I would certainly buy this car and own it myself, but obviously there's lots of things to consider, isn't there? If you want something that's got a little bit of a sort of different character inside, like a Swedish character, and has that very safe and solid and reliable feeling to it, and yet at the same time it's still not that bad to drive, this really is a good shout. It's got plenty of power, performance, economy. You've got enough practicality. Obviously maybe your needs differ and the boot's not big enough, but I would say it is a great car, and it's certainly exceeded my expectations, which were already reasonably high because I knew I would like this combo of a car. So yeah, a big thanks to Damien for bringing this car to the channel. Obviously, if you want to see your car on this channel, please do get in touch. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I'll leave the links on the screen and in the description. If you want to see a review of what is essentially a great big version of this car with lots of space in the back, but it's also jacked up off the ground and has four-wheel drive, then check out my review of the Volvo XC70, which is also a really brilliant Volvo, and one to consider if you're after a Volvo at all. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.